Welcome to this module on spoken English as part of your course in English for this program at the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. Today, we are going to begin the module on spoken English, and in this first session, we will talk about some preliminaries. What is it we must remember while learning English, while learning speaking in English, while learning speaking in global English, in global standard English. And we'll also set our priorities. Is everything in spoken English, all parts of all aspects of the language called spoken English, equally important, or there are things that are more important than some others, some other things? So we will also set our priorities. Here we go. The first thing that we must remember is that English is no longer and not only the language of a small island between Atlantic and Mediterranean. It's now, it has been so ever since perhaps the Second World War, ever since 1945, the language of the world. It's used in all domains, in India and in Pakistan and many other countries of South Asia, Eastern Africa, West Indies, and elsewhere. It is used in many domains, from home to office. A more important fact here is that English today is spoken in all sorts of accents, only because all sorts of people speak it, from Argentina to Zaire, from Australia to Zaire, from New Zealand to New England. It only means that we should expect to speak to a variety of people who may have difficulty understanding us unless we speak in the global standard language. It also means that unless we speak the global standard language, we will not understand many speakers who come from different cultures, different disciplines, and different countries. This is a very important fact to remember, that here is a language which has mind-boggling variety of accents, of vocabulary, of grammar, and in the middle of all this, we have to find and stick to that standard which can take us to everyone, even if they sound to us slightly different from us and we sound to them slightly different from them. Let's go. We could have played you all kinds of things, but in the limited time we have, we are only trying to give you a sample of the kinds of accents, the kinds of people, and the kinds of uses English language is put to. And we are going to play you the acceptance speech of Mother Teresa, acceptance speech given at the Nobel Academy before she accepted a Nobel Prize for Peace. Okay, this entire thing is rather long. We may not be able to play the entire thing, but we'll just play it for about a minute to give you the flavor of it, to give you an idea of how many different kinds of people and different kinds of purposes, how many different kinds of people use it for how many different kinds of purposes. Please listen.
Let us all together thank God for this beautiful occasion where we can all together proclaim the joy of spreading peace, the joy of loving one another, and the joy acknowledging that the poorest of the poor are our brothers and sisters.
You see, we could go on. It's a wonderful, very inspiring, and highly illuminating speech that I have heard since hearing Gandhi on God. We don't have time, but the point I'm making is if you want to speak good English, you must take care of all sorts of accents and yet speak in a manner like Mother Teresa does, so that you and I are understood by all of us. Number one. Number two, if you really want English that is of global standards, it is also important that you listened to, you read, things that are of global reach, that are of global impact. All right. The link is it's very easy to find this video and audio, whatever you like. Go to the Nobel Academy's website, and among Nobel lectures, you will find it. Just click nobel.org and you will get it. No, not a problem at all. We hope that at least some of you will find time to listen to the entire speech by Mother Teresa. She was an Indian by choice. She lived and worked here for over 50 years. And when she died, she had only a bucket and a couple of saris and a soap or something in her room. All the money that she got by way of Nobel Prize was, as she says in this speech, since she had accepted it for the poor, it was there for the poor. Please discover, you know, other aspects of her personality. Okay, a great communicator. To give you a flavor of the kind of global English, the kinds of people that speak, not just in India, not just in America. We saw Mother Teresa born and brought up in Albania in Eastern Europe, and she took a vow, became a nun at the age of 16, and came to work in India, first as an English teacher and later as a social worker at a school in Darjeeling, then Calcutta. But the traffic is also the other way. There are children from Chennai, Calcutta, small and big towns in Asia and Africa who made it big at the global level. One person of that kind is somebody called Ms. Indira Nui, born and brought up in India, educated in India. She joined PepsiCo, looked after her large family, her uncles and aunts, her husband's relatives, her own relatives, bringing up two wonderful children, and she became the head of a global company like PepsiCo. Listen to her, please.
Thank you all for being here this afternoon. It's one of our favorite days of the year for many reasons, but it's only the last two that we decided we need to share our happiness and pleasure and privilege, really, with an audience here in New York. And thank you, Indra Nooyi, so much for spending some time this afternoon and this evening at the gala event downtown with us. Before we get to the subject, and I'm going to share with you exactly what Indra Nooyi requested that we speak about today, but I have to ask you on the subject of spending some time with us, what's it like to have a little bit of free time? It's been a week, right?
It's actually liberating.
Yeah.
When I stepped down, I thought it was going to be tough because for 40 years I've done nothing but wake up at 4 a.m. and just figure out how to rush to work and work 18, 20 hours a day. And when October 2nd rolled around, I thought I was going to feel like I was bereft, something terrible had happened to me. And then I woke up on October 3rd and felt light. And I realized that there is life beyond working so hard. And so
I assume you didn't wake up at 4:30.
I did. That I haven't yet. I mean, that part requires reprogramming. But I look at this display of our waters and I say, wow, that's good, looks good. So, I'm still a PepsiCo CEO at heart, but I'm learning to step aside and actually realize that there's life beyond PepsiCo.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, one of the many reasons you would like to hear This speech is how did this lady, how this lady made it to the top, answering all her obligations to family, to friends, to community, and to her company. You know, as she says, it's not impossible so long as you know what you want to achieve and you are willing to work for that. It is listening to people like them that not only your personality, not only your values and priorities, but also your English, you know, will become of a global standard. So that's why, we have selected it, and we are going to talk further about why you should listen to a variety of things, you know, to have wonderful, globally intelligible English. Next. Okay. So how do we, what we must have? What must we have? What must we have such that our English is of a global standard, above and before anything else? We must have something to say. After you've said good evening, good afternoon, good morning, after you have said namaskara, namaste, vanakkam, sat sri akal, assalamu alaikum, ohayo godaimasu, after you've said all this, what next? Do you have something to say? Is that something interesting to your listeners? Is that something relevant for them? Is that something that is going to help them? And are you going to say it in an interesting manner such that they would sit down and listen? If you have these things, all else can follow. Accent, grammar, vocabulary, all else can follow. If you have something to say, if you look at great prophets, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad, before these two people, Gautam Buddha, whether or people knew their language or they didn't, we don't even know many of us don't know what language Jesus Christ spoke, or what dialect of Arabic Prophet Muhammad spoke, or what language or dialect Gautam Buddha spoke. But they are all popular around the world because they had something to say. So with great business leaders, Indira Nui or anyone else, anyone else, they are there not only because of the accent of English, that is also an asset, of course, you should have that, but also because of something else. So, I'm saying this upfront that only good accent in English will not take you far. That will be a great help, but a greater help will be to cultivate the habit of learning, to acquire knowledge with which you manage your business. Next important thing in learning to speak in English is politeness. People will, your listeners will, your friends, your colleagues, your family will pardon you for mistakes of grammar, for mistakes of vocabulary, for a variety of other things. They will pardon you very easily with a smile. You just say sorry and you get across, but they won't pardon you for being rude. Now what is that? How do you sound polite? How does a language like English, which unlike many Indian languages does not have, two kinds of verbs, ukarango, ukara, which does not have two kinds of verb, baithiye, baito, kuchandi, kucho, okay? How do they say, how do they express politeness? In English, you do not say sitiye, sito, sitting, you don't have things like that. So does that mean English is a rude language? No, it is not. English makes up for these two paradigms, these two kinds of expressions for the same word, same verb, or even if they used to have two nouns, thou was for more intimate, informal, you was for more formal, more respectable, respectful. But it's nearly 100 years ago that English language moved with democracy. It moved to one pronoun for all. So now king or king's driver, the queen or her helper, they are all you. So it goes like that, and they have only one sort of verb now. Okay, so how do they express politeness? They use words like please. Any request is either preceded or followed by. Any request, even to friends, even to family, even to business partners, even to you know colleagues you joke with, are preceded and followed by please, or thanks, or excuse me, or sorry, or pardon me. You know, so things of this, idiomatic expressions of this kind help you sound polite. Okay, then also intonation. There is a difference between come, sit down, and saying, come on, please, will you mind taking a chair? Will you please sit down? So, intonation. And then all requests in English, all commands in English actually, except those by the army commanders, are given through a question sentence, interrogative sentence. You do not say, tell me time, please. You say, will you tell me the time, please? You don't say, tell me time, please. You say, will you tell me time, please? You don't say, stop now. You say, will you please stop now? Okay? That is English. That is politeness. We'll have a session on that. And you should, on your own, when you watch English documentaries, feature films, video, audio, anything, listen for these things, and you will learn in no time. These things are so easy to learn and so easy to use that it will change your class. It will get you more friends, more business partners, more clients, more happy customers than you may have just now. Next, slow tempo is also a marker of politeness. If you speak very rapidly, then a lot of people don't understand you, and you have difficulty understanding them. They have difficulty understanding you. Moreover, people think you are not very polite. Should you speak that way, or should you speak, come on, please? Let's talk in a manner that I am understood by my listeners. My listeners get time to understand and appreciate what I might say. In the beginning, you might think it's a bit too slow. It may also sound artificial, unnatural to some people, but please believe me, this is natural. This is good. It's possible that in the beginning, people may laugh at you, but soon they will imitate you, and soon they will also learn to speak this way, because this is your best guarantee to be understood worldwide. Nobody will ask you to pardon me. What did you say? Please repeat. We'll look at some of these things as well. So slow tempo, as we have said, helps both speakers and listeners. And English particularly is a slow tempo language. In English, you have a pause not only at the end of the sentence, but you have a pause also in the middle of a sentence. Unlike many Asian languages, which pause only at the end of the sentence. In Hindi or Tamil, you might say, only at the end of the sentence you might pause. You'll say, there was a king who had 3 daughters. Well, not in English. In English, you say, there was a king and he had 3 daughters. They were all highly accomplished, but the king had not yet found suitable matches for them. So English is a slow tempo language, Here, it is obligatory for you. You don't have a choice. If you want to speak global English, then you better pause after phrase, after clause, and after sentences. Brief pause, maybe a couple of seconds or even less. But an audible pause, I'm saying an audible silence, which is a contradiction in terms. But when you speak continuously and you go silent suddenly for a couple of seconds, like I did now, then people notice it. You need that kind of pause. And this also does not take a long time to learn. You learn it in no time, okay? Provided you have a mind to, provided you pay attention to. Go next. English has a peculiar problem. No other language has that. The question of variant word stress. You pronounce one word one way. Where is the capital of the United Kingdom? And you say London. Main stress on the initial syllable. London. Where is the main stress? London. Not on the second syllable. You don't say London, not towards the second vowel. You don't say London, you say London. But where is the capital of Germany? It is Berlin. You don't say Berlin, you say Berlin. It's on the second syllable. Which country has the city called Buenos Aires? What we in India generally call Buenos Aires. So Argentina is Argentina, India is India, but Nepal, second syllable. Japan, end of the word. Nepal, end of the word. Brazil, end of the word. But Pakistan, end of the word. But not India. We don't say India in English. We say India. Okay? We don't say United. We say United. So, somewhere it is on the first part, union. We don't say union. Okay? So, in English, word stress varies from word to word, and that makes it a slightly difficult language, a little more difficult language to learn for pronunciation, especially for those of us who have not been born talking this language. Okay, but if we pay attention, we can learn. Similarly, there is just another, not too many, only one or two. English does not have problem of Hindi. It does not have grammatical gender. You don't have to learn whether table is a masculine and chair is a feminine and tea is masculine. Tea is feminine in Hindi. Sugar is feminine in Hindi. Salt is masculine in Hindi. In English, you don't have to learn these things. Even in French, in many other European languages, you have to learn even articles can be feminine and masculine. In French, you have one kind of article for boy and another kind of article for a girl, la fille of garçon. Okay, in English you don't have this problem. The girl, the boy, the bus, the ant, you go on. Okay, but this is the problem in English. That is, its word stress varies from word to word. Then some of its vowels are very long, almost twice as long as vowels as some sounds in many Indian languages. They do not say car, I come to office daily in a car. No, that's not English. English is I come to office daily in a car. Okay? They open their jaws wide. I come to office daily in a car. Okay? That is English. They don't go to market. They go to market. Very long. Sometimes so long that it becomes two vowels. How do you cross the river? And the Englishman would answer you, in a boat, not in a boat, in a boat. Okay? So, that kind of, maybe we don't have to make it as long, but definitely longer than it is generally in our accents. On the other hand, some vowels in their accent are very short, hardly heard. It's about, where you hardly hear a go, away, okay, arise, afore, okay, amiss is hardly heard. Before is hardly heard. before, behind, below, beneath, hardly heard. But four is long. Low is long in below. Okay? Tween is long, but B is hardly anything. These things are learned with drill in no time. We'll have some session there. Next, good English will not come to you only from the classroom. Classroom and your teacher, including me and my colleagues, are like coaches to you. We can tell you what you should learn first and how you should learn, but you have to do the learning. It is your responsibility. Just as I cannot walk for you, no matter how much I respect you, how much I love you, like you, no matter how much your mother likes or loves you, she cannot walk for you. She cannot speak for you. You have to do that. Similarly, here, you have to cultivate certain habits. Okay? And one of these is habits of good listening. Okay? Don't be happy only listening to what entertains you. Go beyond. Look at variety. Look at song. Of course, listen to songs. Of course, watch movies. Of course, watch documentaries. Of course, watch football and cricket matches and any other game that you like. But sometimes, while watching, part of the time, pay attention also to the manner of speech, not just to the matter of speech, not just to the meaning, but also the language. See how they pronounce, how they use which word. Okay? And in no time you will learn that, and soon you may also be speaking that way. I'm going to play a song from a Hindi English movie made in India, and it has a Hindi English song. I would like you to pay attention only to two words, and both the names of a place, a big city called New York. No, it is not New York, it is New York, and a part of that city called Manhattan. But you will hear these two words, Manhattan and New York, in a variety of accents. Listen to it, pause after one first play, and make a note in how many different tones, how many different accents you heard the same words, and then play it again to check if you heard them right. That's the practice you need to do yourself, need to give yourself. First time, listen it for the song. Enjoy this song. Okay? This is all right for young people, not for the likes of me, but then I thought I might entertain you, give you a break from the likes of me. Okay? Please. अंबर को छूता जहां है चलता फिरता सपना है पल पल चलती है ये राहें रुकती कब कहाँ है Manhattan. I can recommend this movie to you, this film to you. It shows how a determined housewife who spoke no English until about she went to New York, and one evening decides to learn, and within a few weeks she starts speaking. Of course, initially she makes mistakes, she is hesitant, but she overcomes her hesitation, overcomes her shyness, and becomes a very effective and fluent speaker of English. All we need to do is to decide that we want to have it, and we have it. Okay? So, coming back, learn to listen. Listen for tone, various kinds of voices in which the same thing is spoken and said. And once your ears are tuned to them, once your ears start getting various tunes, your mind will immediately catch the tune you should use in a particular situation. You don't require a special training that way. Therefore, we have said, you know, learn to listen. Good spoken English is a product of good listening habits. It goes with the rest of the nature, you know. You and I know no language which we have either not heard first or not read first. It's not that speaking precedes listening, listening precedes speaking. In some cases, reading precedes writing. It's just like that. Okay, next. Finally, you know, there are resource books. English, that way, is a very rich language. Of all languages in the world today, English can very easily claim the largest number of publications of books, papers, newspapers, news articles, millions of mails, millions and billions of messages crossing the world from one phone to another. Books, newspapers with standard book numbers, feature films, documentaries. There's so much to read, so much to learn that one lifetime does not seem enough. No other language that way can come even remotely close to the number of publications that English language gets every year worldwide. India alone produces more than 50,000 books of standard book number in English every year. Then think of countries like the United Kingdom, the United States of America. They also produce books for learning languages. You have a variety of dictionaries, you know, different kinds of dictionaries. One company alone has 28 different kinds going in markets in India. Which dictionary would you buy? There are, of course, advice. If you like, search net and see which dictionary you would like to buy. But some of these dictionaries, advanced learners dictionary, not necessarily Oxford. I mention it, I show you the cover page of this because I happen to have a copy of it. But any advanced learners dictionary from any company, Collins, Cambridge, Longman, they all have advanced learners dictionary, which gives you pronunciation, usage, meaning, nearly everything other than etymology, nearly everything other than the origin of the word. Okay, so have an advanced learners dictionary. These days, you have e-versions, electronic versions of these dictionaries. You can have them on your phone so that you can check pronunciation and usage anytime you are in doubt, like I do. Whenever I am in doubt, I check my phone. So have a dictionary handy. And then some of these books, like this book, Better Spoken English. Unfortunately, it has my name. I feel embarrassed. But then, it has a claim upon you. The claim is this book was prepared after listening to a set of undergraduate students at the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, over a few years. The presentations they made, their teachers, their colleagues, their friends. So we recorded those things, we listened to them, and we found that there were about 600 to 700 words in long words. By long words, I mean more than one syllable, not cat, not rat, but words like monkey. We'll have a session on syllable. Long words, monkey, elephant, university, long words. So nearly 600 to 700 long words which were frequently used and wrongly pronounced. So we collected those words together in this book, and we I taught courses with with this book for almost 30 years at IIT Madras, and all my students were very happy with this book, with the course. They came back and said, "Thank you, sir. It has changed it has helped me change my accent." Of course, the book cannot change your accent. The book can help you change your accent. So, that's how I recommend this book. But you need not buy this book. You can have your own list. Think of the words you frequently use. Check with the dictionary, see where you go wrong, and make a list of those words where you go wrong. Get correct pronunciation from dictionary. But the important thing is do some drill in correct pronunciation. Not for too long, for 10 minutes, maybe every day in the morning, another 10 minutes in the evening, before you go to bed, after you get up, when you are fresh, when you are really, will give your mind to it. And you will find that within a few weeks, you are getting all your words right, not only those with which you practiced, but also those others which follow the pattern of this word. Just as if you get the vowel in cat, all right, you will get vowel in rat, sat, mat, that, hat, all right as well. Mind is a wonderful machine. You give it a chance and it programs and reprograms and reprograms itself. The important thing is give it exposure, give it a chance, give it time. Thank you very much. I hope you will enjoy other sessions also just as this in the coming days. Thank you very much for your attention.